Few villains in science fiction history have achieved the mythic status of Khan Noonien Singh. Introduced in the classic Star Trek, the original series episode Space Seed, Khan quickly became one of the franchise's most fascinating antagonists. His story later reached legendary heights in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, widely regarded as one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made. But while Star Trek has continued expanding its universe for decades, Khan's story may already have the perfect ending. In fact, Star Trek, Khan, Noonien Singh arguably provides the definitive conclusion to the iconic villain saga. Khan's appeal has always come from his complexity. Played with unforgettable charisma by Ricardo Montalban, he was never just a simple villain bent on destruction. Khan was a product of humanity's own ambition, a genetically engineered superhuman from the eugenics wars who believed he was destined to rule. His intelligence, strategic brilliance, and commanding presence made him a formidable adversary for James T. Kirk and the crew of the USS Enterprise. What made Khan stand out, however, was his tragic dimension. When Kirk exiled him to the harsh world of Ceti Alpha V at the end of Space Seed, it wasn't meant as cruelty, it was meant as an opportunity. But fate intervened. Years later, the destruction of Ceti Alpha VI devastated the planet, leaving Khan and his followers struggling to survive. This suffering transformed a proud ruler into a man consumed by vengeance. That burning obsession fueled the events of The Wrath of Khan. Khan's relentless pursuit of revenge against Kirk drove the entire story, culminating in a final confrontation that remains one of Star Trek's most memorable moments. His last words, quoting Moby Dick, perfectly captured the depth of his obsession and his refusal to surrender. But despite the cinematic power of that ending, some fans have long wondered whether there was more to Khan's story. Could the character return in another film or series? After all, Star Trek has revived many beloved characters across its timeline. Yet, bringing Khan back again risks undermining the dramatic finality that made his arc so powerful in the first place. That's where the Star Trek, Khan, Noonien Singh novels come in. Written by Greg Cox, this book series expands Khan's backstory in fascinating ways. It traces his rise during the eugenics wars, exploring how a genetically engineered leader came to dominate much of the world before eventually being overthrown and exiled into space. What makes these novels particularly compelling is how they bridge the gap between Khan's historical origins and his ultimate fate. Rather than softening the character or turning him into a misunderstood hero, the story reinforces the very traits that made him such an unforgettable villain: ambition, pride, brilliance, and an inability to let go of revenge. By deepening Khan's past while respecting his cinematic ending, the novels effectively complete his narrative arc. We see the full trajectory of his life, from conqueror to exile to tragic adversary. It becomes clear that his downfall was never simply caused by Kirk or the Federation. It was the inevitable result of Khan's own relentless ambition. In many ways, this makes Khan one of Star